So good. Lancaster! Welcome, goodies.
That's you.
I'm Jason Mundock. This is So Good Lancaster. So back in late January 2025, January 25th to be exact, we had the pleasure of participating in the first ever Stuff to Do fair right here in Lancaster. It was an idea dreamed up by Sav Thorpe-Capizzi.
Yeah, this is just an idea I had, so I started sending emails, and wouldn't you know it, people thought it was a good idea, so...
Imagine a job fair, big open room with a bunch of tables, hundreds of people milling around, visiting the tables, chatting, meeting others, learning about stuff you can do right here in our backyard.
I just remember when I went to college and there was like the first weekend you got there was a big event in the gym with all of the things you can do, and I was like, where is that for 30-year-olds? So I just started sending emails and asking if people thought this would be a good idea, and they kept saying yes, and now we have the Stuff to Do fair.
Sav partnered up with State Representative Izzy Smith-Waddell and Tech Centro to help this idea turn into a reality. So from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. that day, dozens of clubs, hobbies, classes, and activities were represented. Sav was kind enough to invite So Good Lancaster and the Candy Factory to participate. So, of course, we grabbed our microphones and we headed over to Tech Centro West for the very first Stuff to Do fair. Now, we didn't have time to chat with all of the vendors who were there, but we were lucky enough to grab 14 interviews. Today on the program, we're sharing half of those conversations. We have Diasani from the Dutchland Rollers, Julie from Pocket Bookshop, Vincent from the African American Culture Alliance, Max from Closing Time Collective, Jimmy from RCW, Molly from Photo Jam, and Amos from the So We program over at Tenfold. Stay tuned for the next episode to hear the rest of our conversations, and we'll also check in with State Rep Smith-Waddell. There's a ton of stuff to do here in Lancaster. So Good Lancaster is powered by the Candy Factory, also known as TCF, a co-working and social club in downtown Lancaster, Pennsylvania. ClubTCF.com.
Check it out.
It's time. This is So Good.
So good.
So Good Lancaster.
I literally cannot believe how many people came here. This was an event I made up. This is just an idea that I had that I thought would be cool, and I cannot believe how many people agreed with me.
This is Sav, founder of the Stuff to Do fair.
My name's Sav Thorpe-Capizzi, and I came up with the Stuff to Do fair.
You put some wings on this thing, and it's flying.
Listen, it got the Lancaster magic. The people demanded stuff to do, and we delivered it.
So take me just through the genesis of this idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've been in political communications for, 6 or 7 years or so now. And I've done some community organizing in the political space, and my husband and I knocked a lot of doors for this past election, and it did not work the way that we hoped that it would. And when I sat back and was like, okay, what the heck happened here? I really felt in myself a really frayed sense of community, and that there just isn't the space in brick space that there used to be now that there are the phones. And so I have found so much joy and so much connection out of just random activities that people have invited me to. I love line dancing. I'm 30 years old, and I started tap dancing last year just because I thought it would be fun. And it's stuff like that that just grounds me. It is so life affirming to me to be able to dance with other people. And in my mind's eye, I was like, if I am feeling so alive in these moments, I certainly cannot be the only person who would benefit from knowing all the stuff there is to do. So I just started calling people. I was like, I have this loose idea for a job fair style event for lots of classes, clubs, hobbies, and activities. You will notice that all of the attendees today are skewed towards people I think are cool. And so I just started calling people and was like, hey, I've got this idea. Can you come? And they were like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And now it's this.
That's fantastic. What a great seed that got planted, right?
That is what happened. I thought back to the first weekend of college where you go to the gymnasium and all of the extracurriculars are tabling, and I was like, certainly this can be done for 30-somethings.
Well, I will say congratulations to you on such a successful first event. I hope this is not the last, but the first.
I hope so, too. I've heard from many people on their way out that their most negative feedback is that it was too small. So we got to find, if anyone out there has a castle that they're willing to donate, please hit me up.
Oh, my. We are a women's flat track derby association.
roller derby team, Lancaster's only roller derby team.
This is Diasani.
I am Diasani Rivera, aka PR Nightmare, and I'm the vice president of the Dutchland roller derby team. We skate at Overlook. We are trans and gender inclusive. We have non-skating opportunities as well if people want to volunteer, be a non-skating official. So it's really a robust system.
That's great. Tell me a little bit more about the non-skating options.
Yeah, so non-skating officials, they do a lot of behind-the-scenes work. They track all of the lineups, who's going out at what time. They track the points, which is incredibly important. They keep track of our penalties and when we go to the penalty box and when we're released from that. I know. It's everybody's least favorite part.
Like, tell me about the context of your what are they called, matches?
We call them bouts.
Bouts.
Yeah, bouts.
Tell me about the Dutchland Derby bouts.
So we're our home base is at Overlook. It's 30-minute halves and then usually like a 10-minute intermission.
Yeah.
And we are, like I said, we're part of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. So that is actually a global association. And there are so many teams just in Pennsylvania alone. We're part of the Northeast region.
All right, so this is relatively new to me, so I have to ask: is there like a Super Bowl? And have you been the champions of the world?
Once upon a time, we did go to regional competitions. This was before my time. We were number 40 in the Northeast region, or in the world, I think.
I can feel it.
Yeah,
it's coming. We're bringing it. We're bringing home the gold.
Exactly, it's going to happen for us.
Is this something that you could just walk in and sign up, or I mean, do you have to? Are you trying out? Do you have to have skating experience?
No skating experience required. We will teach you. I didn't know how to skate when I started. We will teach you everything you need to know. We even lend you equipment so you don't have to buy skates or pads for the first month or so. And then after that, once you've gotten the bug for it, then we reel you in with like, okay, you got to buy your own skates now.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing in Lancaster that you think everyone should experience or try.
I love First Fridays. First Fridays are great. Just the opportunity to walk around and experience different galleries and music and food. Definitely trying all of the food. That's what I'm going to say. Try all of the food.
Can you tell me what you think makes Lancaster so good?
We have such a great diversity of people, of religions, of backgrounds, nationalities, ethnicities, and that's what makes Lancaster so great. It's unique in that regard. And, Lancaster City there's never a missed, like you could always find something to do. It's never boring here.
Right.
And I love that. But it's also not too busy and over the top and loud as
it's like the
people.
perfect size.
Yes, exactly.
Right between the city and the small town.
Exactly.
It's kind of right in the middle.
Agreed.
Great. Thanks so much for joining me and being on the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So we are a small independent bookstore that opened in April of 2022.
This is Julie.
I'm Julie Ross, and I'm one of the owners of Pocket Bookshop in the West End of Lancaster. Pocket Books is a queer-owned, women-owned independent bookstore here in the West End that I own with my two best friends, Jessica and Austin. We have a love of books and reading. We have quite a bit of knowledge in the area. My co-owner, Austin, has a PhD in American literature, and we have various business experience. So we've decided to kind of aggregate that to create this space that we hope really is kind of a sanctuary for Lancaster.
Opening an independent bookstore in the 21st century, right? We're 25 years into the 21st century. Tell me about the challenges of what were you facing? That's an uphill battle, right?
It is an uphill battle. I mean, obviously we're facing the internet. So that's, there are some behemoths out there. There are some billionaires who don't need to be named who are out there trying to corner the market. And so for us, from a values perspective, it felt really important actually to create this space because the more publishing is consolidated in the hands of the few, the less access we're going to actually have to ideas and art and all of that. And so it feels really important to us at this moment in history specifically to kind of democratize that access as we can and have a space. On top of that, we really wanted it to be like a physical community space because when you have a bookstore in your community, all of the money you spend at the bookstore is going back into the community, whether it's through the taxes that we pay or through the support that we as individuals are providing to other small businesses around the community. So like the impetus was really because this is such a hard moment, we have to do it. Of course, that doesn't negate the challenges. It's certainly hard to convince people to pay the market price for a book when you can get it discounted from the behemoths. But they do that on purpose. It's a loss leader for them to try to eliminate competition in publishing. And so what we're saying is it's worth paying full price to preserve this space, to preserve community, and to preserve access to information.
You know, Lancaster is special in the way that it supports small business. What was the reaction like when you opened?
Lancaster has been incredible. There's nowhere else we would want to be. My co-owner, Austin, is originally from this area for generations and generations, but my other co-owner, Jessica, and I actually moved here with Austin, new to the area, not really knowing. We knew that there was a really healthy small business community, like that much was evident, but we didn't know how we would be received, and we were absolutely blown away with the reception, with how quickly everyone embraced us. Like, as people have come to know us, how they have sort of congregated to us and spread the word and brought their friends and done all the things that are so important for us to stay alive. So it has been truly amazing.
That's fantastic. Now, you're a bookstore, but you also have stuff to do.
We do have stuff to do.
Tell me about some of the events you put on.
So we specifically do 6 book clubs per month. So we have 6 different book clubs that are for different types of readers. So we have thriller, horror, romance, sci-fi, fantasy, general fiction, and then nonfiction. So whatever it is that you like to read, we hopefully have something for you. They each meet monthly. We're choosing generally pretty new books so that folks haven't read them before, so you can read it fresh for the book club. And it's really low barrier to entry. I mean, as readers ourselves, we're kind of introverts, and so we know that like if you have a high barrier to entry, maybe you won't actually quite feel comfortable going. So like there's no sign up required. There's nothing you have to do. You show up in person on the day of the book club and grab a seat. We hang out for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and then you're good to go. But what we found is that for folks that are new to the area, this is a really welcoming space because it's, again, you can talk and participate and add to the conversation in the book club, or you can just kind of hang out and get the vibe. You can come one month and skip the next. Like, it's very loose. And really, it's like a sort of choose your own adventure. Go to as many book clubs as you want or as few. Go as often or as infrequently as you want. Whatever works for you is fine with us. In addition to the book clubs, though, we also offer like adult learning literature classes. As I said, my co-owner has her PhD, and so she has a love of teaching. So right now we're about to start offering our second session of a class on Percival Everett's novel James that came out last year and won the National Book Award. She does a reading of that alongside Huckleberry Finn, which is the book that it's playing off of. And so it's sort of this like deep adult learning, a 4-session class that if folks are looking for something a little bit more structured and formal than book club, or something where you go a little deeper, you have the same cohort of people, the classes are a really great idea. So as I said, now it's the James class, but we'll have more coming up in the spring.
Can you tell me what you think everybody in Lancaster should try or experience at least once?
Oh my gosh. Okay, try or experience at least once. If you drink alcohol, which is a big if, but if you do, I really think you should try the espresso martini at the Belvedere. That's just my favorite espresso martini there is. I love it. If you don't drink alcohol, or even if you do, I think you should eat Nikki's custard. I'm sorry, but that is like, I am a diehard Nikki's custard fan. I eat it multiple times a week.
In your short time here, I know it's only been a few years, can you tell me something that you think makes Lancaster so good?
Lancaster is so good because the people really care about community. I really feel like people invest locally in each other, in the businesses, in the opportunities, and it's like the community care, I think, that's really unique.
It's awesome. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, African American Cultural Alliance was formed to create a cultural and economic impact in Lancaster community for the Black community. Our vision is to connect businesses and community organizations together to make a better tomorrow for future generations.
This is Vincent.
I'm Vincent Derek Smith, president of the African American Cultural Alliance.
And it's a great way to keep things non-competitive, right?
Yes, yes.
It's about collaboration.
It is definitely about collaboration. We're very intentional about not creating events that already exist or creating events to compete against other organizations, and we do what we call State of Black Lancaster, where we bring organizations, community members together to address the needs in our community.
Tell me about some of the events you guys do.
So this year is the 12th anniversary for our African American Parade and Festival, which will be from May 28th to June 1st at Reservoir Park in the city of Lancaster. We are the only African American parade and festival in Central PA. We are the second oldest parade in the city of Lancaster. We currently have about 10 groups already registered, coming from Philadelphia, Maryland, Harrisburg, and Alabama.
Wow, that's great. In February each year, the African American Cultural Alliance hosts a number of events for Black History Month. This year, those events included a Black History Month fashion show and the Black Excellence Award Gala, honoring local African American musicians who are making an impact in the community and the local music scene. Tell me one thing that you think people from Lancaster should experience or try at least one time.
Adunde. Adunde is the largest African-American street fair in the nation. It's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, usually the first Saturday in June. It's about 8 to 9 city blocks long. It's free. You can experience and see over 50, 60 Black vendors from all over the nation.
And even though we're not technically a suburb of Philadelphia, we're literally just down the road.
Yeah, Amtrak could get you there for $16.
That's right. Hop on the train and you're there.
Yes.
Tell me what you think makes Lancaster so good.
It is a growing cultural scene. Like every city, we all have our areas that we need to work on, but I know the dining scene is diverse. The food is great. And, of course, we got the Food and Opera House and all them artsy theaters and stuff.
Thanks so much for taking some time with me today.
Thank you.
Closing Time Collective is pretty much a group of venues that book shows. I mean, I guess rather it's me and my friend Shannon booking shows at said venues.
This is Max.
My name is Max Ludwig, and I'm part of a Closing Time Collective. We're working together with a lot of DIY spaces, whether it's a house or a warehouse or something even stranger, to put on art galleries. Before SO Arts went under, we were working with them to just throw shows and specifically get out-of-town bands to Lancaster, put Lancaster on the map, because, I mean, Lancaster's always had such a musical history with bands like August Burns Red coming out, and even bands before that like Live,
Right.
and the Sharks. So what we're trying to do is bring, obviously not, the next big thing, but just bands that are on tour. Hey, we're from Milwaukee. We need a show. We got you, Lancaster has such a rich DIY history that not a lot of people know about. And so what we're trying to do is connect all of the venues together to make it more organized. Because prior to COVID, Lancaster had a DIY show. There were shows all over the place, but there were shows on the same night. There was bands overplaying the city. So what we're trying to do is say, hey, this band, they're playing this month. You're not going to see them for a while. They're a local band being like, hey, you like this band? They're going to play this night. You got to come out to see it. They're not going to play for a while. And this is the only show happening tonight, right? Whether it's at one venue or another, doesn't really matter. But it's, hey, this is the show tonight. Come hang out.
Were these venues running, operating, and then you guys came in and said, hey, let's pull this together?
Well, COVID clean slated all of Lancaster's DIY. It got rid of literally every single venue. And I'm not talking about, obviously Tellus is still around and Phantom Power is still down in Millersville, but I'm talking about, DIY venue.
Absolutely.
There was nothing left. When 2021 hit, there were 3 music venues total in Lancaster, area, which was Tellus 360, Phantom Power, and my basement.
Which venue was yours?
So I ran a spot in Millersville called Mount Akina. So me and Shannon, in 2021, 2022, were down in Florida at this music festival called Fest. They do it every year in Gainesville. And we were saying, this is really organized. Lancaster needs to be organized. So when we came back, there were no venues besides, the Upside was just starting. And we were like, let's do this. Let's talk about it. So we had a monthly meeting where we met with the Upside, and then after I moved out of Millersville, some kids moved in. It was like a duplex, so some kids moved into the other side of that house and started throwing shows in the basement to carry the torch. And when they moved out, some other kids moved down the street and started throwing shows to carry that torch. So, and they're still around. They're called the Oaken Tower. So there's just this now lineage of Millersville house shows that is happening just because kids are seeing this and going, oh, I can do this. That's
awesome.
Exactly what we wanted to prove is you don't need to have a legit venue like Tellus or Phantom or Mickey's Black Box or whatever to throw shows, to have bands from out of town come. Because that's the whole thing, is just support touring bands and build this Lancaster community of just artists and musicians and being like, hey, it's mad easy to do this. Start a band, start a venue, you can do it.
How do folks find out about these shows?
mainly through our Instagram.
Okay.
We now have a website and we have a mailing list. So Shannon will send out every month. She does like a really nice calendar for each month of just, hey, these are all the shows at the different locations, And she'll be sending that out through our mailing list every month.
What is one thing that you think that everybody in Lancaster should experience or try at least once?
Climbing on top of the Prince Street parking garage.
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
a rite of passage.
It
You
is a
gotta
rite of
just
passage.
stand on top of that thing,
Absolutely, man.
You gotta stand on top of that and get a look over of Lancaster City. It's beautiful.
You've been here your whole life.
Yes.
I assume that you like living here.
I love living
Otherwise,
here.
you would have left.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you think makes Lancaster in itself so good?
I mean, I don't know how long I can say this, but how quaint it is and how people don't really know about it. And when people from out of town come here, they're like, oh, man, I like Lancaster. This is a cool little city. It's so historical, and it's got such an interesting past, and the people that live here are just so cool. And there's a lot of stuff to do, and people don't know that. And so that's why I think this fair is cool, so we can be like, hey, Lancaster is a pretty cool city. It is happening. But
Thanks so much for
thank
for
you,
being
Jason,
on the
for
show.
having me. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, I just love how supportive everyone is, and I just love the diversity and just how welcoming Lancaster is. Yeah, I love it.
I love the food, I love the entertainment, I love the multiple options that are here to get out and do something. So this is a great little place.
I love all of the restaurants and all of the community events, all the fairs and the festivals. And I love how you can walk everywhere, and I love how downtown is all just smaller businesses and they keep the big box stores away. And I love how friendly everyone is, and I love how amazing and creative so many of the shops are, and it's just such an amazing city. I love it.
I like to go to all the sports social meetups at TELUS and all the other events, being part of the Arsenal Gooner Club.
If you have workplace flexibility and can work from anywhere, you probably know how lonely it can get working all day, every day in the same building where you sleep, i.e. your house. TCF Co-working and Social Club in Lancaster is the solution. Get out of the house, work around other humans in real life, and get social with a ton of clubs, activities, and events. TCF offers community, full-time, and private office memberships and day passes if you're just passing through town. Check out clubtcf.com, book a tour, and get plugged in. The very first Stuff to Do fair here in Lancaster went down on January 25th, 2025 at Tech Centro West. The fair was dreamed up by Sav Thorpe Capizzi and hosted by State Representative Izzy Smith-Waddell.
Good morning, and welcome to the first ever Stuff to Do fair.
Let's jump back into the conversation with some of the vendors who were representing at the fair.
So it's called Racket Club West, and it was 4 years ago. The Zincs bought it. It had been up here for 50-some years. It was always a tennis facility.
This is Jimmy.
I am Jimmy Brown from RCW, the Pickleball Growth Coordinator. The Zincs had the foresight to see that pickleball was coming. And there's a guy named Scott who is, I call him the Godfather. He's the one that started the pickleball program there at RCW. He had to convince the Zincs, and the Zincs said, you know what, we're going to get on this train. Tennis is still their number one thing. It's pumping there all the time. But pickleball is slowly creeping into the fold there. So, and they also have a padel court. Have you ever seen padel?
No, never.
Oh, my God.
Don't even know what you're saying.
Okay. I appreciate it, Jason. It's another racket paddle sport, but you play it like inside a facility. It's kind of like racquetball.
Is this like racquetball?
Kind of, but there's an open ceiling, so you can hit the ball and actually run out of the place and hit it back in. It's awesome.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a great workout.
Do people still do racquetball?
Not as much anymore.
Big in the 80s.
Oh,
right?
And people thought it was going to be big, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you need your own facility in order to be able to do that. You need a specific thing. And this is the great thing about pickleball is there's so many built-in facilities because people aren't using outdoor tennis courts. So they're already built in. So it's like tennis and ping pong had a baby. That's what pickleball would be. And it's easy to pick up. It's not great to master, but it's easy to get good at, and anybody can play it. You can have sustained rallies. You play for 15 minutes, then you sit and talk to people for another 5 minutes. It's a very social game.
Very
but
good.
A lot of fun.
What can people expect if they engage with RCW? Is it a membership thing? Is it you paying by the game?
There is a membership thing also. There's that thing, but you can also just drop in if you want. So like there's times where you can just rent a court. Now it is more expensive if you rent a court, but you can go in there as a member and check out the place. It's a beautiful facility. They've done a heck of a job renovating it. Like I said, over the last 4 years.
Now, you're new to the area.
I am.
Can you tell me one thing that maybe you've experienced since you've been here that you think everybody should experience or try in Lancaster?
Oh, the horse and buggies, of course.
Did you go for a buggy ride?
I have not yet, but I was going down the road, and it was cold. I was going to a pickleball tournament out in Malvern, and I'm going down there. I said, oh, this is what people are talking about here. The horse was rolling down the road. What's amazing, though, is I cannot believe the horses were not scared. They're just trucking along. It's like it's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing, and they're just going. It's amazing.
One thing that you think makes Lancaster so good?
I tell you what, I have not explored an awful lot of it. It's been kind of rinse and repeat for me. I'm a really early riser, so I'm at RCW at like 4:50 in the morning. Sometimes I won't leave there till 8 o'clock at night. But it's like being in Arlington for 24 years, that hustle and bustle of the city, I was so ready to get out of there. And it's got a great feel. You got things to do. You can go do things, but you can also, if you just want to be the small town feel also, there's areas, and the traffic is amazing. It's 8 minutes to work. It's amazing.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Jason, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes? Come sing with me.
No. This is Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly Schlachter, and I am the founder and creator of PhotoJam, the world's nicest photography community. PhotoJam is the best. It's a photography community where we meet every Thursday night online, so it's people from all over, the planet can come. We share our photography and get feedback. There are lessons, there are courses you can take. We have 3 rules: no contest, no judgment, and no politics.
How would somebody engage with you? How does somebody become part of PhotoJam?
Just go on our website, photojam.net, and you can become a member, or you can jump into a jam.
That's it?
Yep, that's it. Just sign up and submit some photos, or, send me an email.
Is this for new photographers? Is this for experienced photographers?
That's a good question. It's really for anybody, beginner to pro. You can be shooting with your DSLR or your Hasselblad. You can be shooting with your iPhone or your janky flip phone. I don't care. It really doesn't matter. The core values of PhotoJam is that we look for your strengths in your photography, and we believe that everyone has their own unique visual voice, that you can't compare art to art. I can't compare Andy Warhol's art to Michelangelo. It just doesn't make any sense. And so it doesn't make sense in PhotoJam either. We don't care about the rules of photography. Although we learn them, we don't judge by them. It really is all about your own visual voice. And having that creative practice and getting into a creative flow every week is so mentally healthy.
What is one thing that you think everybody should try or experience in Lancaster?
I really love Market.
You go on a particular day?
I never go on Saturdays. I always go Tuesdays or Fridays for lunch. My studio is right up the street, right? It's on Grant Street. And so it's an easy check. I think Market is a beautiful collection of diversity in our community. And I think that's what makes it so special.
Would you tell me what you think makes Lancaster so good?
I think that over the past however many-ish years I've been here, it really just keeps getting better and better. And we really seem to cater to the arts and the culture of the community. And I just think it keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Molly, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it's an initiative of Tenfold, but it's focused on what would be kind of historically considered the Cabbage Hill neighborhood in Lancaster, so southwest Lancaster City.
This is Amos.
I'm Amos Stoltzfus. I'm the SOE director for Tenfold. We kind of have two focus areas. So one is trying to figure out how to get more affordable housing in the neighborhood. So that would be either new units of affordable housing or maintaining current affordable housing. And then the second thing that we focus on is what we call resident leadership development, which is really trying to support residents to make a difference in their neighborhood. If a neighbor has something that they're interested in doing, whether that's a neighborhood cleanup or they want to throw a block party, we're here to help them make that happen.
That's really awesome. How does somebody get involved? Say I live in that neighborhood. I've heard a little bit about this. What do I do next?
I mean, the best thing to do is go to soelancaster.org, which is our website, or follow Soe Lancaster on Instagram or Facebook. We always welcome people to reach out to us, and if you can find contact information on our website. That's the best way to kind of discover us. We do have a number of events that we do out throughout the year, so we'll come to stuff like this to try to meet neighbors and connect with people in that way. We just reach out to us and we'll see if we can help.
What's that experience like if I'm a resident? Am I committing to a particular time period? Is there any cost?
No. There's no cost. So fortunately, as an organization, we have funding, and we have myself and another staff person. So usually we can kind of help connect residents either to funding if they want to, again, throw a block party, or if they want to get support from another organization. But it really just kind of depends. We have ways, sort of long-term engagement opportunities. We have a housing committee that if folks are interested in affordable housing and want to join that committee, that meets every month. We have a resident leadership committee, again, that meets every month. So that would be like a long-term commitment. But it's also, if you're interested in event planning, like we do a block party in June in Culleton Park, and that could just be a couple meetings before the event to help us plan it. So it's really like whatever someone, the level of commitment someone wants to make.
Yeah, well, however you want to get involved, you can get involved.
Yeah.
Can you tell me one thing that you think everybody in Lancaster should experience at least once?
I mean, I would say like a neighborhood block party. And I say that because I think, other folks have alluded to this, like especially right now, I think like being able to know your neighbors and to count on your neighbors and build those relationships. I'm all about people getting involved in their neighborhood. So you get out to a block party and you start meeting people. It kind of makes you feel more at home in the neighborhood.
What's one thing you think makes Lancaster so good?
I would always say the people. I've always felt welcomed here. I've always felt like it's a place where I belong. I mean, I love that, Lancaster's walkable and we have great architecture and we have great restaurants, and I love all of that stuff. But for me, it comes down to just the wonderful people that we have in this community.
I would say at least 70% of the time when I ask that question, it's the people.
Yeah. I've been fortunate to live in a lot of great places, and I've never lived in a place that feels like, so welcoming and like kind of everyone belongs here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Yeah, awesome.
It's good to meet you, Amos. Yep. Big thanks to Sav, Vincent, Diasani, Julie, Max, Jimmy, Molly, and Amos for hopping on the mic with me at the Stuff to Do Fair to chat about the good stuff they're doing and stuff you can do with them right here in Lancaster. We love hearing from you. Let us know what you think of today's episode, or if you have any fun announcements or events you'd like us to share on the show. You can head over to sogoodlancaster.com and submit your comments, or leave a comment on our episode post on Reddit. We post each episode in the Lancaster subreddit. Your thoughts and announcements could be featured on an upcoming episode of So Good Lancaster. And stay tuned for part 2 from the Stuff to Do Fair on the next episode of the podcast. As always, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. In the meantime, stay good, Lancaster. Stay good. So Good Lancaster is produced at So Good Media in Lancaster, Pennsylvania by yours truly and Ann Kirby. Follow us online at sogoodlancaster.com and follow us on all of the socials. Have any comments, questions, or want to learn more about how So Good Media can help you with your podcast and media productions? Drop us a line at hello@sogoodmedia.studio.